If you're like me, you're tired of downloading all these different film emulations, grain, frames, stacking them in different layers, making sure they're in order, trying to add dust and scratches all the time, I have found a solution. Let's get into it. Hey guys, my name is Chris, otherwise known as CHIPxHAZARD, and I am a professional wedding photographer, videographer. I also shoot commercials as well. So I have quite a bit of experience in this, and I also really love color grading. So since I love color grading so much, I have a very particular way I like to emulate film. It is not plugins. There's a very specific route. I can show you guys pretty much exactly what I do. And the thing that I have found that is going to take the place of that. So we're going to pop over to the computer and I'm going to show you guys exactly how I do it. Here we go. Moving forward. This is how I normally get my film emulated shot. So we got this shot of this bride that I got. We'll pop over to the information tab over here. Everyone's pretty familiar with the way Final Cut Pro looks. Quick disclaimer. If you shoot Canon C-Log 3, you need the correction LUTs from Film Poets, I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's Film Poets. His correction LUTs are the freaking best. They're amazing. They will save you in a pinch. The colors are nice. Anyways, moving forward. Shout out to Film Poets. I'll put a link. It's not an affiliate link or anything like that. It's just a link. His stuff is that good. I bought this. Okay. The nice thing is it gives you like a little stop. So we'll go right about there. That looks pretty good. Go over into our wheels, our wheelie boys here. I like to pump in some saturation. That looks much better. I'll probably bring up these mid-tones a bit. Don't worry, we're gonna come back to that. This is literally my process. I will pop over into curves. Drop 5 points is literally what I do. Then I tweak it from there. Everything is preference, okay? You like what you like. This is all just tweaking. If you enjoy color like I do, you know that this is just part of the process, and this is how I do my process. I always like to bump the skin tones a little bit, gives it a little pop. All right, sweet. So that's just a basic color corrected shot. So you know that in Final Cut Pro or most editors, you have to have everything laid out in this way with your base corrections, curves, and all that. And then you would add your LUT on top of that. So how I like to do it, I like to come over here, you drop an adjustment layer. If you're not using adjustment layers, what you're doing, they're easy to find for Final Cut Pro because they're not already installed for whatever reason. We're gonna pop over here. Yes, you probably already saw a little what we're going to talk about, but right now, I also use the lens distortions. LUTs, I like them. They're cool. I know people will tell you not to use LUTs at full. I use them at full. And then I bounce back to the actual clip. It's looking a little saturated for my taste. So we're gonna pop over into wheels. Bring those midtones. I don't know, it's mainly those greens, so I'm gonna pop over into HSL. I'm gonna grab that, these greens. I'm gonna drop a bit. Even over here, those blues looking a little strong too, for my personal taste. So we're gonna come over here and drop those blues. Maybe a little bit of cyan too, while we're at it. And then we'll punch in some of that nice warm tone, some reds back in that image, brighten the oranges a little bit more. Cool, there we go. Basic kind of edit. You're probably like, Chris, this is nothing like film. I get that. But like most of us, we're probably gonna do this. We're gonna grab a little overlay, drop that sucker in. This one's from Ezra Cohen. He has great stuff. Here's the thing, I'm not bashing anybody's product right now. I have obviously bought them and I use them. This is a hard light. I like to put it under my adjustment layer so it adjusts the color grain that's in it to look more like film. I mean, that's at full power. That's a little much. So usually we'll probably take it down to like 60%. Cleans up the image quite a bit. You still get that grainy feel. This still seems not enough personally. So what I will go if I'm like, it's too cold. Film likes to do this quite a bit. I'll use the color board and the adjustment layer. And you're like, Chris, this is a lot of steps for a single image. I know. Welcome to my world. This is what we do. I say we as if there's more than just me. There's not. It's just me. Over here, we'll probably go with probably more of a 145. Bump that into the shadows a little bit. This can come up way more. So now we have kind of like an overlay or color grade in Lightroom. So now we have more of a stylized look to it. I will probably come back into this and generally bring these highlights down a little bit, right around 90. I like that look. And then we'll pop back over into curves. You're kind of hopefully getting how I edit now, and it's a process, and that's how color grading is. And it's just bump this, okay, like the way that looks, jump back over here, bump this. This is a wedding look also, keep that in mind, okay? Like now we have this shot, sun comes streaming in, obviously your boy would stabilize the shot. And this is pretty close if you really want to go for it. You got these dust scratches from Tropic Color, and you can go in here and just shift this blend mode to add. Boom. Now you have a real film look. Look at that. Dust, scratches, grain. You got a color grade in there. Pretty solid. I would probably spend another 30 minutes on this, but for the sake of the video, there we go. So that's essentially my look. Right. And to just prove that this is my process, I can literally just pretty much do the same exact thing to the shot. We'll do the same exact thing to this shot. It's a little under. Bring it back up. That looks fine. Come over into this. Pump the saturation into it. Bring up those midtones so I can S-curve them how I want them. Stretch the grain over. This is literally midtones could use some color. That LUT is actually a little strong, so I am going to dial that LUT back. Oh, maybe it was just that. Right, just that. Just taking off the color board. But like, already that's not bad, and I haven't done anything to this shot. So I'll come into here, obviously drop my points. Ooh, there's some clouds back there. This is where I would probably keep that pretty high up. And then drop the blacks down. I mean, now we just kept a bunch of that color and stuff like that. And there you go. Pretty sunset kiss shot at a wedding. Yes, these are real weddings. Right. So now you're probably wondering like, hey Chris, what's the solution? That's a process that I don't want to do. I got you, dog. So we're gonna use another clip to get that same look. You probably already know what I'm going to use because it was there earlier. Is Dehancer. You're like, Chris, that looks atrocious. I get that. That's because the emulation's on and there's no correction applied. So the nice thing about this is you do not have to have correction LUTs. You do not have to have anything. This is a one-stop shop with sliders, which I heavily appreciate because you can literally do everything in one drop down. And I'll go through this whole thing like quickly, but like you'll get how easy this is. You go, okay, cool, Rec 709, but like let's go to choose camera. Boom. Okay, what did you shoot this with? A Canon. Cool. They don't have the R3 in here, but the R5 is close enough in color science. In C-Log 3. Boom, color corrected. Not in my favorite way because that's Canon style, but it's corrected. Like you can work from this corrected image and start going with it. Like my hands are a little pinky to me, but you know, you can bring the exposure down. Like you can bring the temperature up, like really warm it up. But we'll get to the real reason why you're here. But like, look, all these adjustments are like right here. You can defringe radius. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I have no idea what that means. So we'll bring this back to more of a somewhat neutral. This is where you get to have a lot of fun. You get to pick which film emulation profile, like pretty much in like Fujifilm, how you would want to do this. This is so dope. Check this out. Turn it on. I personally don't believe that's Kodak Vision 3. So like, you'll play through them. You'll like play with them and like figure out which one you actually prefer. But for the sake of time, we can go Portra 400. Pretty nice. That's one click. We didn't tweak anything, and you can push and pull these, and it does shift it pretty similar to how they go. I would personally warm this image up a little bit more, but like, all right. And so like, there's so many different like boxes here. We can go into film compression, which literally brings back a bunch of those highlights. So let's say you're shooting sunset, boom, you can bring all of that information back like how film is in a click, and you get to change all these different parameters, like how much impact you want it to have, where you want your white point. You want it pretty flat looking? Do you want it to be more expanded and have a lot of like contrast? Sorry, went blank there. To change the tonal range of how you want that to even look, like color density, how much color you want pumped into that. Like, this is so tweakable, but the nice thing is it's easy to tweak. Everything's on a freaking slider. Your black point, you're like, bruh, I need some more contrast, darken up those dark areas. Boom, done. Oh, I need some more white in my image. Or less, like, you can do everything inside of this. Keep in mind, I have not used the correction LUT. I have not used anything else. Like, more stuff, more tweaking that you can do. It's crazy. You can even tweak individual colors, like yellow, blue. What? Let's say your image is shifted because you just botched the white balance. That happens. That's realistic. You can fix that. Keep in mind, these tools are not normally with Final Cut Pro, so you are just kind of SOL on this, but you get them in this one program, in one step. You have all this power, so you can literally go in and perfect what the image was supposed to look like and have it completely to your liking. Like, you're like, oh, I see too much yellow. Okay, balance it out. Piece of cake. Wild how many tools are in this thing. Even the shadow tone, like, you can, what? Even the freaking shadows, like, you can individualize things. It's so crazy to me. Here's the film part. And none of this is naturally in Final Cut Pro. You have to buy plugin after plugin, or all of that stuff does not come with this. Even with a lot of the plugins that you get, they still don't have this kind of tweakability, or like tweakability. Is that a word? It is now. So feel free, patented by me. How big you want the grain? Do you want it huge and chunky? Do you want it super small and fine? I would probably say stick with fine. You can change the amount. Like, oh, you're like, dude, that's way too much. Okay, you can have none, or you can have, I would say cut it in half, like 8, 10 is good. You can change the resolution of it. How much do you want in the shadows? Do you want a ton? Like, in midtones, shift that down. Like, I want it to be a little bit crisper in the midtones. You can change that. There's not an option for that if you use an overlay. You just turn it down, and that's for the whole image. There's not a way to tweak just the freaking midtones for how much grain you want there, or even the highlights. You're like, I want really clean highlights. Boom. But I want a grainy like feel to help hide the noise and the shadows. Real talk. You can do that. That's so crazy to me. You can even change the chroma. You can change if you want it to be a positive film, negative. What? That's crazy. Like, I've been playing with this Final Cut Pro for so long, like 8 years? That's a hot minute, dude. And to never have all of this in one program, wild. That's not good enough for you? That's okay, we got more. There's even freaking more. I would have been super happy if it stopped at the film grain, but we got some more. We got halation. DaVinci people know about this, but halation is like its own plugin that you have to buy for like $80 for Final Cut Pro. You get it with this one and everything else. Freaking nuts, dude. Like, and you have all this you can screw around with. Like, how much halation do you want? Do you want it less? Do you want more? And you're probably like, Chris, it's not really showing up in this image. Do you not see that pink coming in? Yeah. Oh, that's not enough for you? You get bloom as well. Like, what? That's crazy. Like, keep in mind, I had bought another program that was a plugin to do just blooms. It works great, but like, I get this in one, and this has almost the same stuff. You can add freaking vignette inside the one program. Like, here's the coolest part. You can export this as a LUT. What? Like, let's say you make your perfect look that you are just so happy with, that you just want to use for everything. You can export it instead of going through and tweaking all the parameters every single time. Just export it. You have it in one click every time. That's freaking nuts, dude. Like, do you know how long people take to like customize a look and then export it? And then once they bring it over in their program and they start working with that LUT, you got to tweak it more. You can tweak it inside the program while looking at your video clips and export it just like that. Freaking nuts, dude. Like, I am so stoked over this. And here's the crazy part. I don't feel like I have like that big of a name or anything like that. They reached out to me and I'm like mind blown. And I was like, I need this. And like, holy cow. And I'm like, everyone needs to know about this. We gotta hook people up. I have a code for you guys. Use CHIPxHAZARD. You get 10% off. Like, people are like, oh, that's not that much. Bro, for a program like this, People don't normally get discounts. Do you realize that? Like, this stuff is normally like, if I added all the plugins, I spent way more than this program just to have the same look and feel. This, in my opinion, ends up coming out way more natural. I get all these different profiles I want to pick through. So let's say I want a wedding to feel different. I can do that. I just one click, boom, shifted, has a different feel, still film. That's crazy. Like, my LUTs alone, I have spent over $200. Just the LUTs. And then if we're adding plugins, we're looking at another $200 to $300. And then overlays, there's another $100. Like, I could have bought the program already. And there's other stuff that I bought that is all built into this program. That's crazy. That's an insane value. And over the long run, like, even if your tastes change, this program, you don't outgrow it. They can add profiles in here. Keep in mind, I just did all that inside of it. I turn this off, it goes back to trash. Boom. That's crazy to me. So thank you guys for watching. I know this video was much longer than it normally is, but like, I freaked out over this program. This is literally what I am using now for my weddings. I'm not gonna lie, for pretty much all my client work. This just makes it so streamlined. I can match all the cameras that I have. Bonkers. If people even say that freaking word anymore. Like, I hope you guys got a ton out of this. If you're not, even if you don't get that program, you now know how I color grade my stuff. We didn't spend too much time on that one, so don't look at that. But like, I upload my weddings and stuff like that to my channel, so you guys can even watch those and get an idea of what the look that I normally go for. That, bro, insane.